My dear friends in Christ, welcome to this Sunday reflection, the first Sunday of Advent. In his book, Man's Search for Meaning, the Jewish psychiatrist Viktor Frankl tells the story of how he survived the atrocities of the concentration camp at Auschwitz. Frankl says one of the worst sufferings at Auschwitz was waiting for the war to end, waiting for an uncertain date of release, and waiting for death to end the agony. This waiting caused some prisoners to lose sight of future goals, to let go of their grip on present realities and give up the struggle. This same waiting made others like Frankl accept it as a challenge, as a test to their inner strength and a chance to discover deeper dimensions of freedom, says Albert Silvicki. Pope Benedict said this: "It is the beautiful task of Advent to awaken in all of us memories of goodness and thus to open doors of hope." Today we begin Advent. This is the period when we remember the Christ who came in history 2,000 years ago, the Christ who comes in mystery among us every day through the Word, through the sacrament, the lives, our everyday lives. So we have to be prepared to receive Him. And we know that He will come again at the end of time in majesty, and we have to prepare the world for His coming. Everything we do as Christians is related to these three comings of the Lord, who came in history, who comes in mystery, and He will come again in majesty. As a community of believers, let us pray that we will be ready to stand before Him when He comes again in glory. On a December day, a 16-year-old Gary Schneider and two friends set out on a 4-day climb up Mount Hood, 9,000 feet up. A blinding storm engulfed the three boys. Soon the snow was drifting over their heads. They tunneled into a snowbank to get out of the driving wind and to wait out the blizzard. 11 days later, the blizzard continued to rage. The boys' sleeping bags grew wet and lumpy. Their food supply dwindled to a daily ration of 2 spoonfuls of pancake batter apiece. Their sole comfort was a small Bible one of the boys had packed in his gear. The boys took turns reading it, 8 hours a day. Then the three boys remained huddled hour after hour, day after day, listening to the Word of God against a background of howling wind. If rescue came, it would have to come from God, they thought. Waiting like this was not easy. All the boys could do was pray, hoping the blizzard would blow itself out and hell would come. And finally, on the 16th day, the weather cleared and the boys crawled out of their snow cave. They were weak from the ordeal and could manage only a few steps at a time. Later that day, they caught sight of a rescue party. Their long ordeal of waiting had finally ended. Pope John Paul II said this: "It is necessary to understand that the whole of our life must be an advent, a vigilant awaiting of the final coming of Christ, and that Christ comes in different ways and different forms in our life." The gospel readings for Advent each year invite us to meditate on the mystery of waiting, and they do it by presenting us with stories of great people who knew how to wait. On the first Sunday, Jesus himself is the model as he taught his followers the spirituality of waiting in joyful hope. Advent begins at the end, the promised return of Christ at the end of time. For the faithful disciple, history is a moving forward, a journey to the fulfillment of God's reign, when God's Christ will return as Lord of all. We therefore live in a permanent state of Advent. Watchfulness, preparation, and perseverance as we await the return of the Holy One who has already come. In its day, the Titanic was the world's largest ship, weighing 46,328 tons. It was considered unsinkable. Yet, late during the night of April 14, 15, 1912, the unthinkable happened to the unsinkable. Near midnight, the great Titanic struck an iceberg, ripping a 300-foot hole through 5 of its 16 watertight compartments. It sank in 2.5 hours, killing 1,513 people. Before the Titanic sank, warning after warning had been sent to tell the crew that they were speeding into an ice field, but the messages were ignored. In fact, when a nearby ship sent an urgent warning, the Titanic was talking to Cape Race about the time the chauffeurs were to meet arriving passengers at the dock in New York, and what dinner menus were to be ready. In these troubled times, King Albert II says, we should remain vigilant and see through populist arguments. Sometimes we believe that our ship is unsinkable. Our life is all planned and the unthinkable can never happen to us. We need to read the signs of the time. We need to pay attention to the warning signals. But if we are preoccupied with the trivial things of life, we will miss the most important till it is too late. In his gospel, Luke depicts our final judgment very simply, to stand before the Son of Man. Like the officers of the Titanic, Luke infers that our judgment before Christ will be a moment of illuminating truth, when all artifice will melt away, when our rationalization will fail us, when we will see our holiness and face our failures. But rather than make us tremble The prospect of standing before Jesus should fill us with hope. Fill us with hope that the shoot of Jesse comes to redeem us despite ourselves, that in Him God loves us in our holiest moments and our most glaring sinfulness. I think it is always important to be vigilant of what you are doing and aware of your surroundings, said Leona Lewis. A man was standing down the pier, heading for the ferry boat, afraid he was not going to make it. Here was a man of some status, a man who concerned about his dignity. He wore a pinstriped suit, carried a black umbrella in one hand and a black bowler hat in the other, with which he was waving at the ferry boat, yelling at the boat to stop so that he could get on it. He ran all the way to the end of the pier, furiously jumped and landed safely on the deck of the boat. Very proud of himself, he straightened his tie and recovered his dignity. It was then that he discovered that the boat was actually not going out, it was coming in. Today is the first Sunday of Advent, and there is that kind of confusion about Advent and Christmas. Are we going or coming? Christmas is a celebration that as Christ has come. Advent is a celebration that Christ is coming. Advent is preparation for Christmas. We shouldn't miss. Jesus calls us to pay attention to the signs of God's Advent presence, to stand erect and raise our heads, realize God's presence in our midst. The moments we are given in this experience of life are precious and few. God gives us these days in order that we might come to discover Him and know Him in the love of others and the goodness of this world in anticipation of the next. Lives are a continuing advent, an ongoing advent in which we make our way to God by creating a road for the journey, a road built of justice, forgiveness, and love. The signs that we watch around us, as a meteorologist will look for a storm forming in the Atlantic or in the Arabian Sea, and how the computers turn the information so that people can be prepared with the warning of a hurricane or a storm approaching. In our life, in our families, your son or daughter's mood has changed. Your usually happy child is quiet, sullen, impatient, angry, typical teenage angst. Or is it something deeper, more dangerous going on? At your annual checkup, the doctor sits you down. He is concerned about the numbers on your chart. He doesn't mince his words. You are over 40. You can't eat like a teenager anymore. Throughout our lives, we encounter signs in our body, in our relationships, in our family, in our community, in our church, in our parish, in the political field, sociologically, our neighbor. These signs urge us. These urge us to look deeper, to see beyond ourselves, so to confront the issues before they become disasters. On this first Sunday of Advent, Jesus calls us to pay attention to the many signs of God's love, God's coming, in the midst of every trial and challenge or encounter. God's spirit of humility and wisdom enable us to realize God's saving work in the advent of our lives. What lies behind us and what lies before us are tiny matters compared to what lies within us. What lies behind us and what lies before us are tiny matters compared to what lies within us. We are reminded. Vigilance is the price of victory. We profess what we are already redeemed because we have received the Spirit in baptism. We maintain that we have already reached Christian maturity because we have received the sacrament of confirmation. We feel that we have it made for the week because we have attended Mass on Sunday. We tend to link the cry of victory with our beginnings. Too often we fail to realize that vigilance is the price of victory. Let us pray. Lord our God, we are your people on the march who try to carry out the task of giving shape to your kingdom of love and peace. When we are discouraged and afraid, keep us going forward in hope. Make us vigilant in prayer, that we may see the signs of your Son's coming. Let Jesus walk with us already now on the road he has shown us, that he may lead us to you, our living God, forever and ever. Amen. God bless.